There is an art to cutting a great trailer. Do it right and you can tell a whole narrative without giving away too much. And I put quotes around right because, well, it's an art and there's no exact way of doing it right. I've seen fantastic game trailers that are mostly cutscenes, some that mix in gameplay, some that craft a story, and even just teasers promising a simple but interesting idea. There's a special energy when you're watching a new trailer and you know that you and your friends are going to be obsessing over it for a few days. But no matter what, there is no other trailer quite like the ones cut by this guy, Mr. Hideo Game Kojima. These trailers are cinematic experiences serving as 10-minute epigraphs to his games. I always feel such a rush watching them, like damn, I feel like I just went on a 10-minute roller coaster ride. And this is only a taste of the whole theme park, and that feeling lingers long after the actual game releases. Speaking of lingering feelings, Metal Gear Solid 5 is a game often looked back on with a wistful attitude. How fitting is it that a game subtitled The Phantom Pain is the one that actually left players feeling that exact emotion? For 10 years, players have debated whether this was intentional on part of the devs. Is the game finished, and is it even a good Metal Gear game? These debates will go on probably forever.
Inside you there are two wolves.
As it's been pretty much confirmed that chunks of the original story are fucking missing and have been cut from the game, offered only to special edition buyers, which is fucking bullshit.
Series director Hideo Kojima has said in multiple interviews since leaving Konami's legal grasp that MGSV is a complete and finished product, and that he is satisfied with the game he released, story included.
The Phantom Pain on the box does indeed reference a feeling that lots of fans are experiencing right now. The problem for looking at this game in the future is going to be figuring out how much of that was intended versus how much of it was an unfortunate accident.
Doesn't feel like this is over, and I'll never be whole again.
They played us like a damn fiddle!
Regardless of the end product, I think anyone who was there before the release could agree on one thing. The build-up and hype cycle for this game was electric. Truly a you had to be there experience. The story behind this game's development is pretty infamous nowadays, but I have such a fondness for this era. I'd rather look back on it from a more positive angle. I remember that up to launch, I must have seen this trailer in particular like well over 100 times, and I still watch it every now and then to this day. So allow me to look back on a simpler era and tell a tale leading up to the greatest video game trailer of all time. In my opinion, don't fight me. So for starters, MGS5 wasn't initially revealed to the public as the game we know it as today. In 2011, Kojima posted this image to Twitter describing the developing title as an open-world game called Project Ogre. In contrast to his prior games being linear, relatively short cinematic games, he described Project Ogre as an open-world game that could be played for hundreds of hours. Also that it will have ogres. Throughout 2012, Koji Pro started sharing some impressive visuals from their proprietary development tool, the Fox engine. The engine was developed for the title and future Konami projects, focusing on rendering accurate physics-based lighting. It was an especially impressive piece of technology for its time. You tell me, which one of these two images is a real photo and not rendered on Fox? Neither of these, you fool. Obviously the horse in the office is the real one. Later in August, Kojima unveiled the new Metal Gear Solid, titled Ground Zeroes. Finally, after a year of beating around the bush, Project Ogre was finally revealed to be Metal Gear Solid all along.
Right? Wrong!
Kojima, clearly annoyed at this assumption, had this to say.
While I'm happy to know people like MGS Ground Zeroes, I'm sick and tired of people asking me like, is that Project Ogre? Here in Seattle every day. Project Ogre is what the project that Ogre appears. Ogre does not appear in MGS Ground Zeroes trailer. Also, please like the video and subscribe to Basil, and also hype the video. Or else I'm never releasing MGS6, you ungrateful fuck.
So Ground Zeroes was revealed to be a prologue to something, and Project Ogre was its own thing. Regardless of this mix-up, people were pretty hyped to see the new Metal Gear game running on that fancy new Fox engine. Here's where things start to get really silly. A few months later, a new developer called Moby Dick Studio dropped a trailer for their game called The Phantom Pain. The whole thing seemed way too sus to be a standalone project. It was running on the Fox engine, and fans were quick to spot all the Easter eggs that would suggest that this is connected to Ground Zeroes. There could also potentially be two snakes in this game.
Yo, he know too much.
There was also the mysterious director of the game, Joaquin Magrin. Wait a minute. We got some more Fox engine promo from Koji Pro, and after a pretty funny Jeff Keighley interview, suspicions were confirmed at GDC 2013. The Phantom Pain was MGS5 all along, and Ground Zeroes was the prologue. Koji Pro showed off a new trailer that created even more fan theories. It was a clever ARG marketing campaign, vindicating the fans who kept up with months of speculation and pieces of information. A little obvious, sure, but it kept interest high and fans were still itching to learn more about what the hell was even going on, let alone the scope of the game itself. And David Hayter isn't Snake? What?
We needed someone who could genuinely convey both the facial and vocal qualities of a man in his late 40s. So I asked a producer friend of mine in Hollywood, Avi Arad, for advice. He's the one who introduced me to Mr. Kiefer Sutherland.
I'm gonna kick your fucking ass, man!
And folks, that leads us to E3 2013. This is it. This is where we got the 9-minute trailer that would truly ignite the powder keg that had been building for the past year and a half. This trailer induced so much hype and promised that this would be Kojima's 2-part magnum opus finale for the series. Let's dig in.
We pull in money, recruits, just to combat Cypher. Rubbing our noses in bloody battlefield dirt. All for revenge.
It starts with a dire, harrowing tone. Over 2 minutes of cutscenes depicting torture, child soldiers, and prisoners of war. A mesmerizing yet mournful voice floats between a gentle piano and soft string section, presenting us with a sobering atmosphere. We're not watching the glamorized action movie version of war, this is the sad reality of it. The tone slips further into tragedy as we listen to a soul-crushing monologue detailing lost limbs and friends.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night. I can feel my leg and my arm, even my fingers, the body I've lost, the comrades I've lost. Won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there.
The narration turns from raw pain to an angrier, tormented vow.
I'm gonna make them give back our past.
Even more gruesome, graphic scenes unfold, followed by a cap end to all those statements we've seen so far. For what end is all this brutality being done for? Not for any nation, not for any ideology, not for justice, honor, power, the future, love, or peace.
All for revenge.
This is Metal Gear Solid? What the hell? In the last game we were having anime beach episodes, J-pop dance numbers, and wrestling mechs. Yeah, the older MGS games explored some mature ideas regarding war, but they never pushed that to the forefront like this. Kojima Productions wasn't pulling any punches with this title. Kojima even warned fans that he might get cancelled for the stuff he would show in this game, and if he released this in 2026, yeah, bro would have been. This was wild. The only thing that helps lighten the mood just a bit is knowing that Kaz's speech immediately became a meme.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
A lot of moments from this trailer have become a meme, actually. But that speaks to how memorable and impactful it was. This section still fascinates me as a brilliant mood piece. It's a well-edited hook that captures your attention and immediately challenges the viewer to feel some way about it. Probably negative. But this is also the point of shock value. It's to get you morbidly curious as to why something is happening and to watch what happens next. And thankfully, it's a needed reprieve from what we just witnessed. We get some shots of Ocelot and Snake in Afghanistan, setting up that this game will focus on the reconstruction of what was lost.
You'll have to join up with Miller. Build that private army of yours one more time.
This section serves as a first real look into the gameplay of MGS5. Before this, fans only got glimpses at Ground Zeroes, so this was going to showcase what the majority of the gameplay experience would look like for 5. First of all, I have to glaze the Fox engine. This game still looks fantastic over 10 years later. The lighting and landscape pretty much look real to life, and the in-game animations looked really smooth. Crazy to look back on this game and remember that this also released on 7th gen consoles. Those horse developers in the office really cooked with this one. The trailer showed off several modes of transportation, all with their own unique stealth use cases. This was actually something Koji Pro had been wanting to explore since as early as MGS3. Pretty cool to see that this would finally be a feature and help achieve the open world stealth experience Kojima alluded to in prior interviews. It was chasing the open world trend, sure, but at the time this implied that the gameplay possibilities could be endless. Before this, every Metal Gear game was a mostly linear experience. But now that the rails were off, this made fans' imaginations run wild. Now the weather could affect your approach, working as an in-game mechanic that we haven't seen since MGS2. And now it looks like we can sneak through huge bases spread across the landscape. Sick. This is gonna be awesome. We can just drive up to them and... Wait, what's that? This trailer makes me feel more than most movies, dog. As if the gameplay mechanics and world didn't already convince you, the grandiose vocals reinforce the feeling that this game was going to be massive in scope and ambition. The developers were crafting an entirely new experience, and it was going to be bigger than anything that came before. We get a glimpse into some slick gameplay additions, then we find Kaz, the same man giving the monologue at the beginning of the trailer.
I'm here to get you out. Snake.
This was the cheerful and charismatic co-lead from Peace Walker, and here we find him battered and defeated. So it only made fans wonder and loathe whoever the mysterious villain behind this really was. This leads to a stylish montage of new and returning characters, along with some intriguing captions. Yet another way to fuel further memes, hype, and speculation as to what the hell is even happening. The vocals return with a grand choir and synth, building the drama and intrigue. At this point, the trailer is pure energy, the lyrics, the directing, the editing. It's masterfully capturing your attention. It's an atmosphere of mystery and excitement. Maybe you're not sure what any of this means, but the ideas and execution are enthralling. Now we finally get a look at the series' patented, bizarre, supernatural characters, and wait a minute.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Yeah, I don't have much to add here. Hype moments and aura, pure cinema. Kojima trailers will confuse the hell out of everyone, but they will leave you with an overwhelming sense of awe and emotion, and that doesn't need any explanation. It seems that Snake is clearly going to be the hero of this game. We were going to take back what was lost, get Cypher, and... Call me the US government the way I do not care about these kids being gunned down. Because do you know what this means? This is going to be the game where we finally see Big Boss's descent into villainy, a revenge story that leads to the fall of the series' hero. What a great setup to lead into the original MSX games.
Cypher sent us to hell, but we're going even deeper. Take back everything that we've lost. Cause I'm already a demon.
Like any other Kojima trailer, this one answered so many questions but introduced 100 more in their place. This trailer lived up to fan expectations and raised them even further. The next-gen visuals, mechanics, and game design were expertly woven into the narrative of the trailer. It's still impressive to this day. Even though some of the events left people scratching their heads, it sold the message that this game was going to be a darker, revenge-fueled spiral to hell for our former hero. This looked like it was going to be the best Metal Gear game yet. No, one of the greatest games ever. Now we just needed to wait for the developers to finish up the game and have it ready for launch.
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load.
Hello everyone, this is the totally real Hideo Kojima with an update. Basil has launched a Discord server and Instagram for the channel. Now you can have a parasocial relationship and check out his awesome feet pic. I mean cool pictures and updates. Links for these and other social media are linked below. Consider becoming a YouTube member to help support more videos like this. Keep on keeping on.